What is up, y'all? It's Nelson with Cabana Boys Events, and welcome to the Cabana Boys Podcast. Today we have Jonathan Wicks, founder and CEO of Well and Good Professional Services. I'm super excited to dive into this because Jonathan and I met when he used to work for Cabana Boys.
Yes, sir.
One of the OGs.
That's right.
But he's turned a page in his life and he's not doing it anymore.
I'm retired.
Yeah. But we'll get into all that. Before we dive into Jonathan and more about his background, if you are planning a last-minute holiday party and you need some fantastic, charismatic bartenders, we definitely recommend you reach out to us at the Cocktail Crew. We can make your holiday party fantastic. So just shoot us a message at cocktail-crew.com, and we'll show you how it's done. So, Jonathan, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good
to be here.
You brought a special gift for us
That's
today.
right. That's right.
I'm so excited. Because if anybody's a longtime listener of the Cabana Boys podcast, they always know that we open up the Cabana Boys cooler.
That's right.
But you've got a special edition.
Yes.
Or addition, I should say.
I'm a coffee guy,
Yep.
and we have brought some coffee-themed cocktails here.
Yes.
So we're going to go espresso martini.
Let's go.
And I'm going to do a little,
All right.
do a little action here.
Former Cabana Boy, go for it.
I'm going to do it? All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here.
Former Cabana Boy, let's see if you still
First,
got
we'll
it.
Brewing it with Well and Good Morning Coffee, the greatest coffee in all the world. And then
Plug.
we got our coffee. This is going to be a process.
It's all right. We got time.
Okay.
I can help too.
So,
I'll create a little bar area for you.
Mr. Black, fantastic. We're going to just kind of
Hold this.
happen like this.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
2 ounces of Mr. Black.
Walk us through it.
So this is Mr. Black, which is really a fantastic coffee liqueur. Great for espresso martinis, kind of made for it. So I'm going to go 2 ounces of our Mr. Black. Oh, yes, sir. We're going to do a double of that.
Yeah, let's just, Perfect.
Boom.
There
All
we
right,
go.
perfect. Now, we're going to go with our Tito's on the next. I'm going to do 2 of those just to make things saucy.
Stash this over here.
That's great. It's been a while here. It's been a while.
Yeah. It's like riding a bike.
It's like riding a bike. And then we've got our coffee, which I will do the same. Whoop,
I think it's closed, yeah. So this is your coffee?
Yeah, so we supply all the products for short-term rentals, and one of the things we did was decided to make our own coffee line.
Yeah.
So yeah, this
That's
is
awesome.
Well and Good Morning Coffee. Yes, sir.
Put it on the table.
All right, you like
brand
it on the
name.
table?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, plug that. Here, I'll move the Tito's. Here, you shake that up.
there. I'm gonna shake this. Is that already hit? Yep. Just like the old days. There we go. Oh man, we're ready. We're rocked. We're rolling. Ooh, we're
And we
ready.
got our martini
We
glasses.
even got some fancy martini glasses. I might have spilled already. That's
all right.
that's a classic par for the course.
It's coming.
It's a coming.
Let's go.
Oh, that looks fantastic. Let's see what we got here. Man, I think we are
It's okay. It is 9 a.m. on a Wednesday,
9 a.m. That's what I was wondering.
so this is probably good that they're not like full
I was
blown.
wondering when I was going hardcore on mine if that was going to work out well. All right, brother.
Hey, cheers.
It
Thanks
is
for
a well
being
and good
on.
morning. Nice to see you. Let's cheers.
That's a great way to start the morning. That's really good.
Delicious.
Well done. He's still got it.
You still got it.
So former Cabana Boy, we met back in what, 2021, I think.
2021 sounds right. Yeah.
I
probably
forget, how
early.
did we initially meet? You reached out.
I want to
think.
say it was via Instagram,
Yeah.
right? Because we had started to both be in this emerging space of short-term rental, Airbnb properties, and all that. And I think our companies connected on Instagram initially.
That sounds right. Yeah. Nice. And then you're like, hey, let's do it. Let's join the team.
I had moved to Arizona to start Well and Good, and
Yeah.
it was one of those I didn't know anybody, and so I figured if I was going to make a social circle, kind of making that within the industry, and you all working within so many of the short-term rentals, just kind of aligned. Yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah. So then you moved to Arizona to start your company?
That's right. I was
Okay.
in Chicago, and it was the idea for Well and Good, this servicing company for Airbnb homes. came to me right before COVID. But
Okay.
then COVID hits. I'm living in Chicago. I knew I was going to move anyway. And so it just, a lot of things led to Scottsdale being the place to launch the company. And then I moved in doing that. Yeah.
Tell us more about Well and Good. What do y'all do?
Yeah, so we're a full-scale servicing company. We take care of all of the on-site services between each guest. So you've got a guest that checks out. A lot needs to happen before the next guest checks in. And that's what our company does. Full scale. So we do all of the cleaning. We supply all the linens to make it like a hotel-like linen experience, as well as all the amenities. So the soaps, the paper products, all the laundry pods, all the guest essentials that you'd expect to be in a home. Oftentimes in this industry are not, right? And so we wanted to bring some confidence to the industry. So we are supplying the best professionals as well as the best products to make the guest experience really fantastic.
So do you have a background in hospitality, or like where'd you get the idea?
Yeah, my background's in home services. So my first company started when I was 19. I was doing a cleaning company back then. So it was interesting that it all kind of came full circle.
Yeah.
But mainly, the services business, doing that. I sold that company after college and then went into working with foreclosed homes, actually, doing like repairs and maintenance on homes across the Midwest. And so, anything that required like blue collar professionals to be motivated and to be really, get into the nitty gritty work was kind of the thing for my career. And I had a lake house in the Chicago area that led me to kind of the Airbnb world and understanding that, like, man, there was some serious needs when it came to the servicing of these homes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you got the idea in Chicago.
Yeah.
Did you say, hey, Scottsdale, like, is a blossoming travel tourist market, let's move there to open this up? Or I guess
the story's nuts. So I come up with the idea. Kobe Bryant dies. If you remember, that was like
didn't think Kobe Bryant was going to enter.
Right. So it was impactful because it's like that happened and that triggered really a lot of just crazy events from that point on. That's February of 2020. So Kobe Bryant dies, and I remember I'm sitting there at my condo in Chicago, and I'm thinking about impact and all the things that I've done in business, and I had just sold my previous company, and I was planning on being a passive investor. I was not planning on starting another company.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about his impact and thinking about, like, okay, take what you have and really make it do the most impact possible.
Yeah.
That night, I stayed up all night coming up with this idea for a servicing company that would serve well and do good and Well and Good, and I'm sending myself emails. That next day, I'm flying to Arizona for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and that's 2020. So the whole world's kind of in a little bit of a shock. There's this major event that happened with Kobe. There's also this words of a virus that is happening, kind of like starting to murmur around, and I'm just buzzing off of coffee mainly, but off of the fact that I'm starting this company. Well, I stayed at a short-term rental, and after I leave, the host sends me the email and is like, hey, if you ever want to come back again, we've got 30 properties and you can book directly. I send him a DM and I'm like, I'm actually starting a company in the short-term rental space.
Okay.
And he's like, do you want to chat on it? So we get on a 5-minute call, tell him the idea of Well and Good. And then he sends me an email after the phone call. He's like, if that ever comes to Scottsdale, let me know. And fast forward, we kind of stay in touch through February. When March comes, all the bookings here really shut down. Everybody canceled and all that. And he's like, hey, if you want to come out here and just kind of see how our operations go, we could do that. So I did come out here. And when I landed in Scottsdale in the end of March of 2020, I was like, I'm not leaving until this client is my first client and I've launched this company here. So it just really was this chain of events that happened through that really origin of March 2020 was crazy for everybody. It was really crazy for me.
That's great. So what makes Well and Good different? Because obviously there's thousands of Airbnbs. Yeah. You don't service all of them. Right. There's other companies and a lot of people who do your services themselves, I'm sure. Yeah. Not to the same level, but like, what if I'm an Airbnb host, why would I choose your company versus another?
Yeah, so the standards have changed within short-term rentals. It used to be the guest expectation was just like, hey, if you got an air mattress, I'm good to go, right? Now they're expecting like resort level amenities, and that's oftentimes difficult to pull off. If you're a host, whether you're local or you're out of state, it's just tough to pull off those logistical things. And so you can get a cleaner to show up, and there's even companies that'll get you a cleaner, almost the Uber style of cleaners. Right. But that doesn't really solve full-scale servicing because the products have to be in alignment. So the difference for our company is that we're supplying the products, the cleaners are coming in with everything they need, mimicking the hotel process. And that's critical to be able to have high level servicing, is they have to have the right products ready to go, not reliant on doing the laundry in the home or hoping that the inventory closet in the home has everything they need. That's never been successful. And so we've kind of flipped that and said, let's really go professional level, bringing the products in.
Do you mostly partner with like individual or small ownership groups, couple properties, or like more larger ones, or kind of everything?
It totally varies. I mean, we have individual owners, and then we have small managers as well as large nationwide managers. I remember the first property I ever worked with at Cabana Boys was an Avant Stay property. Avant Stay is a large management company. They're fantastic.
One of our partners.
Yeah, one of ours as well. So we service Avant Stay homes across the valley now, cool. and even in other areas. So yeah, it's been definitely interesting to see the need for our service is vast. It's whether you're an individual operator or you're a large scale manager, you need high quality servicing.
Right. It's probably a little bit more on kind of the luxury end of Airbnb properties.
Yeah, which I think that pretty much any short term rental should have a level of luxury. Like the Motel 6 level Airbnb is not doing anyone any favors, right? It's just not. It's not needed. You're almost like, what are you competing against? Like the low end hotel. The idea of staying at a home is really so you can have a nice place that's going to be set up well for you. And I think that's really where the trend of short term rentals is going.
And you've expanded.
Yeah, a little bit. So that was it was going great here, and we were.
All right, we're back. Sorry, we had a little bit of a spill here.
Things happen.
Yeah.
So it was happening in Scottsdale. We were seeing a lot of wins. Like this was a win for the guest, it was a win for the host, it was a win for the servicers. So we started to get requests across the country, and we expanded. So that was in 2022, and since then we now have expanded to 18 locations in 9 states across the country. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
18 locations?
18 locations, in physical locations. Okay. So very different than saying like we service markets, right? Where we're kind of, a platform-based company. We're not that. We're a location-based, human-powered company.
Because do you have like a physical building?
We have physical buildings in each one of these locations.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So when we say locations,
I thought it was like 2 other places.
Yeah. It's been quite a couple of years.
That's awesome.
Yes.
How big is your team?
We have about 325 total team members, and of that, we have a combination of our internal team members, which is about 60 or so on the employee side, and then about 250 that are the representatives of cleaning professionals as well as some of our laundry teams.
Nice. Yeah. Dude, that's a big business.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's filling a need that absolutely had to happen within our industry. Yeah. Guests had higher expectations. Host wanted to meet those. There had to be a company that can make that happen.
And are you, like, I know as a CEO, speaking from experience, it's hard sometimes to like release control of some of the day-to-day stuff. How's that going?
I've never had a problem with releasing control of that.
I'm speaking for myself, I guess.
Honestly, I really love seeing the teammates take ownership of their work and take ownership of decision making. My leadership style is definitely a little bit more, empowering, if you want to say a good word for it. Maybe passive is a negative word for it, but I want to see folks be able to, make quality decisions and lead. And it's the thing that makes me probably the happiest as a leader is when I see the folks that are working, in our organization actually leading and being great at that.
That's killing it, dude. That's impressive. Hey, cheers to that.
Cheers, man.
That's
yes,
awesome.
Sir.
What do you do outside of Well and Good?
Well, typical stuff. I play golf, and with what a crazy thing that we undertake in trying to hit a little ball and just let it just drive us nuts. But I do that. I spend time a little bit of pickleball here and there. A lot of family stuff. If I'm looking now at my life compared to where it was, it's like, man, family is much more important to me. My girlfriend, all these different things are much more in the level of where I feel my time goes. Totally. But work does take up a lot of it.
It does.
Yes.
It's good to have, I can assume, a support system. Like, you're successful, and I don't think most people who are successful don't have people around them that are like against them achieving their goals.
Sure.
That makes sense,
yeah,
right?
That's true. That's true. If you're really running against resistance, whether it's at home or within your personal world,
right,
you're gonna, one of those two things is gonna shift, right? You're either going to remove that resistance or you're going to stop doing the thing that you feel like you want to do. And I love what I do. So the folks that I want to be around are the folks who are very supportive of that.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you. Happy
Thanks,
for you. That's great.
And same. I watching this, I was one of the OGs when it comes
were.
to the Cabana Boy world,
Yeah.
and to watch the flourishing of the company and just the evolution. It's, some of these, you never know what a bold idea, where it's going to take you. And you did something that was completely wild, and it's cool to see the progression, the evolution, the real, business development that's happened within it.
Thanks, man. Yeah. It's been a wild ride for sure.
Truly.
I think 2025 is going to be like a really pivotal year for us, where we're doing good, but just like, hey, are we going to like go for the moon, or just kind of like stay relatively, moderate growth?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how that goes.
And I think regardless of growth, every company, it does best to try to stay scrappy, in the sense of like trying to be that scrappy upstart, no matter how big it is, right? You want to, think big, act small kind of aspect. And I think, you've got a niche that is so unique, and to be able to make it a professional kind of endeavor is really, really cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So I asked you to bring 2 truths and a lie.
Yes.
Do you have those prepared?
I do. I wrote them down.
I'm going to guess what they are.
Okay.
So let's hear them.
Okay. All right. So, I guess I don't even need to write them down. Let's go with all 3. My order is going to be completely randomized. I saw somebody was ChatGPTing on which order to do. All right. So I've got all 3 in my head. I'll start. So I wake up at 5 a.m. 6 days a week.
Okay.
I caravanned and went skydiving across New Zealand.
Okay.
And I raised sheep as a child.
Okay, so I think that you do wake up at 5 a.m.
Okay.
Just, naturally you think of CEO, busy guy who drinks a lot of coffee. He probably is going to wake up early,
Helps.
right? So maybe an assumption on my part, but that's my guess.
Okay.
I think the other truth is that you raised sheep as a child, because I think you're from like Nebraska or something like that.
I'm from Nebraska.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, I don't know,
Sure.
farm life that just kind of like lines up. And I feel like skydiving is just kind of like a thing that people say because they think it's like out there.
Yeah.
So that's my guess. What do you think?
Okay. You're wrong, which I'm happy about. I love that for me. Yes. I drink a lot of coffee, but I am not part of the 5 a.m. club.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate mornings. Honestly, coffee drags me out. You see so many CEOs that are like 5 a.m. got to wake up before everybody else, and I do try to wake up early, but no, I am like in the 7s usually if I'm waking up.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, but I did do the skydiving in the caravan across
us
New
about that.
Zealand. It was a friend of mine had a wedding that was on the remote side of New Zealand, and so it was like, okay, we landed on one side of the island and rented this van and drove all the way through the sheep, ironically, in New Zealand, because it is what you imagine. It's rolling hills of sheep. And we drove across. It was a couple of days just like living in the van. It was a really cool experience, and that led to skydiving over Lake Taupo, which was really cool.
I bet.
Yeah, that was a super super fun experience. I don't know if I ever need to do skydiving again.
One-time
It's a
thing.
one-time. Yeah, the bucket list is crossed,
Yeah.
and it was good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you raise sheep.
I did raise sheep. So, the Nebraska connection. My dad was kind of like a big 4-H like champion sheep guy, and as growing up, and so he wanted us to have some of that, and so we just did it really small scale. Like we would get little lambs each spring, we would raise them, show them in the county fair, and then we would sell them each year.
This is definitely what I think of when I think of Nebraska.
That's Nebraska. That's right, and it's everything you would imagine in that sense. Yes.
What is, and this is just, I'm from the Northwest, like not much of a farm guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call myself a city boy either, but definitely on that end of the spectrum. What's like the appeal of like 4-H? Is it actually like the rearing of animals, or is it more like teaching kids responsibility, or both, or what do you think?
I think it starts with the fact that most of those areas just have a lot of livestock and all that stuff, and so it's kind of trying
need
to
a helping hand.
or like trying to showcase what they're doing, right?
Gotcha,
So if you're a kid who's growing up and it's got this rural aspect, that's maybe not the most glamorous, but once a year you get that county fair where you get to just shear the sheep just right and walk it out there and show off how good you are at farming, basically. And it's now evolved. I guess I heard this recently that 4-H is now much more for like other things besides livestock. Like they're just getting into like arts and crafts and all this stuff, because there's so few kids nowadays grow up with animals, like with livestock specifically. I mean, like farming has totally shifted to major commercialized stuff. And so, I think it's shifted a bit. It is unfortunate because, man, growing up with like livestock animals, it's really cool. I mean, you get your sense of responsibility and a little bit of like, man, I got to take care of this thing. It's sitting out in a barn. It's a wild time.
That's crazy. Have you seen there's it's not so much going around anymore, but there was a video on social media of like a girl who is raising pigs. And she like in the like county fair setting, she's like walking the pig around, and she's got this like look on her face, and she's got like a little whip. And I don't know. It's pretty wild. It's just like this like very stern, just like intense look on her face. And for some reason, other kids were doing it as well. But she was just doing it like way more.
Oh yeah, no, there's some serious action that goes on with the showing of the sheep and of the pigs and of the cows and all that stuff. We take it very seriously, and yes, I think that was to different levels. We sucked at it. Honestly, we were not professional farmers. Going back to like my dad's a preacher actually, so he was just wanting us to mimic a little bit of the life that he had. So we were kind of like wannabe farmers in that sense. And
I love this podcast. We've talked about Kobe Bryant. We've talked about shearing sheep. Let's do some fishbowl questions. Maybe some other. So take a question. We'll both answer it.
Okay. Ooh. If you could swap lives with any fictional character, who would it be?
I know your answer.
Really?
John Wick.
John Wick. Ooh, I love that. Great answer. Don't mess with my dog. Yeah, truly. All right, what do you got, Nelson?
Fictional character. Oh, man. Who's just like living just a great life? Yeah, usually when I think of fictional characters, there's usually like a lot of conflict involved.
Mm-hmm. You know? You're right. They're fighting. They're barely alive. Yes.
And I'm not that into that.
You want it easy? Yeah.
I don't know. You got anything?
Goodness gracious. I mean, Pluto from Disney. Just a dog that runs around and just kind of living his life, honestly, happy as can be.
That's a really good answer.
Thank you.
I like that. Yeah. I think trading just places with a dog.
A dog in general, right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, our dogs one sitting right there. They just are so spoiled.
Dog's life.
You know?
Yes.
And it's like these things would not survive when they were like back, a few hundred years ago.
Oh yeah, zero survival instincts among any sort of domesticated animals. No, they're toast.
My golden retriever is like the most scaredy cat. Like scared of. I was taking a shower and I was like, "Come on, like feel the water," and she's like, "No," and she's like running away. I'm like, "All right, fine."
Generally, the bigger dogs too. They're big babies.
Yeah. I don't know. My fictional character.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I haven't really been watching too many movies lately, so I'm the first one that came to mind is there's a show on Netflix called The Madness.
The Madness.
And it's definitely not somebody I would switch places with, but it is a pretty good show. This guy is a CNN reporter.
Oh.
He goes up into the Poconos to write and just kind of spend some alone time.
Interesting place.
And the Airbnb next to his, a guy is there, and his power goes out. Like the CNN reporter, his power goes out. And so he goes over the other place. He's like, "Hey, like, is your power out?" Ends up finding a guy like chopped into a bunch of little pieces.
Oh,
yeah, bad. And then, like, long story short, he's getting framed for that murder. And there's
you want to be this guy?
No, that's just like what I thought fictional character. That's like the first one that came to mind since we're watching it recently.
Okay,
but that would definitely not. Yeah. So definitely not him, but. I don't know, maybe like an animated character. Like right. Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron. Oh, yeah. Boy Genius, right?
Boy Genius. Very nice. He's doing like cool
smart
stuff.
Dude. Sure.
Experiments.
All right, love it. I was thinking the Brain from Pinky and the Brain. He was awesome too. He was trying to take over the world every time. Great show.
All right, let's do it.
We're going fishbowl again? Yeah, let's do it. Delicious martinis, by the way.
You did great,
man. I like
we have a spot on the team if you want to come back.
Delight.
If you were stranded on a desert island, what 3 things would you want with you? I feel like you might have an interesting perspective on this with you being in the short-term rental space. I feel like if you're on a deserted island, it's probably not a short-term rental. You're probably there for a long time.
Yeah.
You're not renting it.
It's nothing short-term about that. That's right. Okay.
But maybe some nice Egyptian cotton sheets. or
You gotta have a bed.
Some lavender hand soap.
I love where your head's at here because this is just propping all the products out here. Yes, I need a well and good professional to make sure everything's just propped and ready.
Concierge butler.
Yeah. 3 things to have on a deserted island. I mean, are we going practical or are we going luxury? Because I think it's like,
I wrote these questions and it's
there are no
open to
rules.
interpretation.
Yeah, there are no rules.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go with a water filtrator. Got to stay alive. This is going to be the most boring answer because I'm just thinking about the water.
That.
The water's got to be that.
Does that work for salt water?
Yeah. I think that's kind of part of the idea.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
the life straw things.
Exactly. So it extracts whatever is the non.
But I feel like salt water is just like way different.
Does it work for salt water? There is a way to convert salt water to fresh water. I'm certain of that. And maybe what I'm asking for is a giant machine that's an industrialized thing that's probably not going to happen on a deserted island.
No, the life straw does not work on salt water.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Sorry, dude.
All right. Well, we're going to hope there's a stream. I love drinking out of streams, by the way. Shout out to the streams. So, yes. All right. I forget the water. I'll be fine. I'll bring some Wellington morning coffee. Everything will be fine. We can make that. Give me 2 great friends.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Have you ever watched, there's a documentary about blue zones?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, not at all.
Okay, so blue zones, I was just telling somebody about this recently. Blue zones is a study where this researcher, anthropologist guy, he looked across the world and he found 5 locations across the world where there's like a super high concentration of centenarians. People who are
yes.
100 years
okay.
old.
Yeah.
Like way more so than anywhere else in the world. There's just a bunch of really old people. And he looked and said, okay, like what makes these communities different? And one of the things that they all shared was community.
That's right.
Right? They just have friends. They see them regularly. They're not just watching TV all day, right? They're out spending time playing chess, doing book clubs, hiking, like those sorts of things.
It's the things that give us life. Yeah. And we, in this society in the last 4 or 5 years, have been totally shifting away from that. And it's not good. It's beneficial for us. We did a whole challenge in our company, Better Together, where we said, find a way to share space with another professional. Like sometimes cleaning professionals or teammates feel like, man, I'm alone. I'm on an island, right? And it's like, no islands allowed. Be together. We are better together. Yeah, I love that. Have you heard of, so that reminded me of Ikigai. Which is, I think, in the same study where they attributed some of their longevity to Ikigai, and that is a Japanese word. Oh. It's the combination of 4 quadrants. So the quadrants are the things you love, the things you're good at, the things you think the world needs, and the things you can make money at.
Interesting.
And so you have to write words in each one of these quadrants, then you work your way towards your Ikigai, which is the combination of all of those things.
Is that like your calling kind of?
Yeah, it becomes a little bit of you're living out every bit of what you are supposed to be. That word was one of the reasons as I'm pacing through my condo, coming up with the idea for Well and Good, that was what was continually going through my head. Like, what do I love? I love people and servicing. What do I think the world needs? Needs more, confidence and all that. And so you combine all these aspects. You did it with Cabana Boys, right? You things you love, things you're good at. You're a very congenial guy. Things you think the world needs. Well, it needs more. Needs more entertainment. Needs more this or that. And then things you can make money at. You combine it together. You've got Ikigai.
I love that. Yeah. I have not heard of that before, but a reason for being is what it says. That is a reason for being,
right? And that goes back to what you said, the community, like what are you living for?
Right.
I was thinking about John Wick, Rabbit Trail again. In every movie.
You know how to shoot a gun?
I do.
Okay, there you go.
Every movie that you see the superhero, he's always like able to take 1,000,000 shots. Whereas like when he shoots the bad guy just dies immediately. I always think about that. Like they're dead immediately, but like he's able to just somehow keep coming back.
Unfair advantage.
But I think it maybe has something subconsciously to do with those people. If they're a bad guy, they don't really have anything to live for. Like, the good guy, he's living for, maybe it's his family or whatever it is. So it's like, what is your reason for being? And that will make you be able to take some shots. Yeah. That'll make you be able to come back up.
This is deep. I love this. This is so good.
on a morning, we got the coffee's flowing.
Half of an espresso martini later. Like we're getting into Japanese philosophy here.
That's right. That was a good fishbowl. Did we get yours?
What did I say? Deserted island. island.
Yeah, deserted island.
I would say I love the idea of friends, but I'm not just going to repeat yours. I think like a book or like a volume of books.
Okay.
Something like keep me busy.
Keep the mind going. Yeah, sure.
Or like, a constant stream of Sudoku puzzles.
There you go.
Something like that. Crossword puzzles. Something, to, like you said, to keep my brain sharp. Speaking of sharp, probably a knife.
A knife is a good idea.
I feel like just, whether it's finding food or building shelter, I think that's kind of a practical thing. And then I'd bring a 13-foot boat with an outboard motor.
Oh, no, okay. I love that. Just to get the heck off the island.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Escapism. All right.
Some sunscreen.
Sunscreen's not a bad. Yeah. You're a fair skinned guy.
Right,
Gotta have that. All right.
Yeah,
Love
I think
it.
that's probably good. Do people still get stranded on deserted islands? Is that still a thing?
I doubt it. You wonder.
Yeah.
There are certainly a lot of islands that are uninhabited and still, working to be claimed. They're creating new islands, right? That's a whole big thing that's happening in the Middle East or the East as a whole. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
all right, we got one time for another.
I think we're good. We're up on time, but dude, it was great to see you. Great for you to have you on. And
yes.
Anything just tell people like where to find Well and Good.
Sure.
And like how social media, websites, anything like
that? So Well and Good is easily found at wellandgood.pro, right? That's our Instagram handle. That's our website. You can go on there and see the locations that we service. We are a Scottsdale-based company. Shout out to the OG headquarters of Scottsdale. Love to be a part of the community. And I love so much that you bring on a lot of local Scottsdale businesses. And this is definitely where it all began. But find us at wellandgood.pro. We'd love to chat about any servicing needs you have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jonathan.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. See you, brother.
Thanks, dude. Thanks, y'all, for listening. Like I said at the beginning, if you're planning a holiday party, definitely look up the Cocktail Crew. Tell your friends about the show. It helps us grow it. Leave us a 5-star review. That also helps us grow it. And we'll catch y'all soon.
Thank you for listening to the Cabana Boys Podcast. Please like and subscribe to get new episodes as they're released. Write to the show by sending an email to thecabanaboyspodcast@gmail.com. You can find the video version of the show on YouTube at the Cabana Boys YouTube channel. The Cabana Boys and all other related brands are also on Instagram and TikTok at Cabana Boys Podcast, the Cabana Boys, the Cocktail Cowboys, and the Cocktail Boys. This has been a T-Door production.